back, true believers, and all you merry Marvelites, as well as all you spectacular Spidey fans out there, to another very exciting episode of Marvel's Avengers 101. So now that the very first beta weekend for Marvel's Avengers has just wrapped up, there certainly is a lot to reflect upon after playing this experience for myself. And while I'm still cautious as to what the final product will be, and my criticisms about the game are still alive and well, I will say that I did have a rather enjoyable experience when playing through the beta initially, as well as teaming up with others during Warzone missions. And even though I still think that there is a lot to improve upon and polish for the full game before it releases on September 4th, I do believe that given the type of game Marvel's Avengers is, that the vision the developers have for the game is certainly pointed in the right direction. So even though I will dive deeper into other aspects about the beta in future videos, I just wanted to take time within this video to point out something extremely intriguing that you can find within the beta version of Marvel's Avengers. And shockingly enough, this relates to none other than our favorite wall crawler himself, with that of the Amazing Spider-Man. But first, I do have to give a huge shout out to Rachel Marvel on Twitter for actually being the one to point this out to me in the first place. Without him, I don't believe I would actually be able to find this Easter egg on my own. So definitely be sure to go follow him on Twitter to support him as much as you can. And yes, while I am well aware that there are other Easter eggs that can be found within the Marvel's Avengers beta that do relate to other characters within the wider Marvel universe, like that of Iron Fist, Quake, and even other characters that were already previously leaked to be in the game like War Machine, I specifically wanted to talk about this Easter egg, which does relate to Spider-Man himself, and in turn actually gives us a potential first look at exactly what he'll look like within the game's universe. So as for exactly where you can find this Easter egg, it can be located when playing the Eastern Seaboard Warzone mission directly placed within, where else, New York City. And while it might be a rather difficult Easter egg to find if you're actually not out looking for it on purpose, it isn't all that far away from a relatively known location. So the best way to go about finding this Easter egg is actually starting out at the entrance of the AIM headquarters located in the middle of the city. And from there, simply start making your way down the main road of the map, and before you actually reach the main hotel sign in the city, go to the very top of the awning, which can be found on your right. And once you reach said awning, you'll then be able to actually look into a window within the side of a building. And lo and behold, if you manage to use the game's photo mode to get a better look within the window, you will then find a plethora of drawings of the Avengers themselves, as well as none other than a close-up sketch of Spider-Man's mask. And just as a small reminder for any of you out there, this gameplay footage is indeed of the PlayStation 4 version of the Marvel's Avengers beta. And like we're all well aware at this time, Spider-Man is only going to be featured in Marvel's Avengers as a PlayStation exclusive character. And the primary reason as to why I bring this up is because I'm not entirely sure whether or not this same Easter egg is going to be found within the Xbox or PC version of Marvel's Avengers. And even though this was simply a beta version of Marvel's Avengers, I would still fully expect this Easter egg to pop up within the full game come launch. But seeing how Spider-Man is only tied in for Marvel's Avengers on the Sony side of things, I don't know if the developers are going to keep in or take out this Easter egg for the other versions of Marvel's Avengers that isn't on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 versions of the game. Nonetheless, I still think this to be a very cool Easter egg that they actually decided to put in the beta regardless. And even though we don't know exactly what Spider-Man will look like within this game's universe just yet, I personally believe that this is going to be the best look of the character that we will see so far. And alongside of that, we also have some insight as to exactly how Spider-Man's suit is going to look once we do see him in action within the game itself. If you manage to recall from the PlayStation blog post revealing Spider-Man, it was heavily indicated by the developers themselves that the main look that they are using as reference for Spider-Man's look in this game's world is in fact the main suit designs that we did receive from both Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr. And knowing that we now have a close-up shot as to exactly what Spider-Man's mask could look like within the game, I do believe that we can now determine one specific feature that will be included within Spider-Man's costume. And if we do take this Easter egg, as well as the inspiration of said artist into consideration, I do believe that feature will in fact be stagnant lenses. In the case of Spider-Man PS4, even with Peter's classic suit, he still had emoting and expressive lenses to showcase exactly what Peter was feeling underneath the mask. But again, the main ways as to how Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr. drew Spider-Man is that they almost always seem to portray him with the same lenses every time he wore the suit. So overall, even though it is one minuscule detail in comparison to everything else, I still believe it's a safe bet to make that Spider-Man within the Marvel's Avengers universe will indeed have static lenses. And while this is nothing more than a simple drawing of Spider-Man, it makes me that much more interested to see exactly what his final design will be once he's added into the game come early 2021. But sadly, even though the first beta weekend for Marvel's Avengers might be over, I still highly encourage all you to try and find this Easter egg for yourself once the next beta weekend arrives. And with all that said, everyone, that's the video I have for you today, and please let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below. What do you think about this Spider-Man Easter egg within Marvel's Avengers, and what type of suit would you like to see for Spider-Man be featured within this game? Would you personally want something much more modernized and innovative like that of the Advanced suit, or instead something a bit more current while also keeping true to the primary aesthetic of the comics with something like that of the classic suit? If anything, I would actually like to see a hybrid of both suits if possible. But again, knowing that Crystal Dynamics is drawing heavily from Steve Ditko and John Romita Sr.'s version of Spider-Man, I think it's safe to say that we are in good hands. But until next time, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. Stay merry, Marvelites, and stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy, and without further ado, peace out.